Well, if you receive a drawing from, say, an architect or surveyor, pop the drawing as a DWG file, put it into a folder we've called a Teigha, and then we have an in folder and an out folder. So that drawing that we're about to process sits in the Teigha in. You don't have to set it up just that way, but as long as you know where the incoming drawing is put, now we can run the Teigha file converter and convert this drawing into, we would recommend, the DXF file. Well, here we are in the Teigha converter, and if you look up top left, there's the incoming folder and the output folder. We're going to convert a DWG file, and I'm going to convert that into a relatively early version of a DXF file, an ASCII DXF file. You can use other formed binary DXF and so on of different years, so this is going to take the very latest AutoCAD version, and experience tells us that a DXF file of 2007 format in ASCII format is clean and is not likely to carry an awful lot of baggage with it. So we'll just click Start and the file gets converted. Well, now we'll start gCADPlus and we'll go File and New and start a brand new drawing. It's clean and we can say File and DXF in, and we can pick up that DXF file from, I need to go our C drive into Teigha and out, and there's our DXF file, and we can bring it in. We can right click, zoom extents. It's come in, we're looking there in paper space. There's an awful lot of baggage here, which I suspect we won't need, and I'll go into the model here. I'll swing to background colour white, and there we are, there's our converted drawing. The next thing to consider is this drawing, since it comes from a surveyor, it's probably drawn in metres and we will need to scale it up. Here we are, lengths are in metres, or the English spelling of metres. So we won't need any more information on this page, so let's delete that layout. We'll actually delete the layout itself. Come back in here into the model, and I just want to try zooming extents to see if we can zoom extents, and that seems to work reasonably well, but there might be one or two elements outside of this area. That's one called a survey point, and I think we can happily delete that one. Now zoom extents, regen, zoom extents again, and that looks fine. Now the next step, I think, will be to scale things. So I'll go Tools and select All, right click and Scale, nominate 0,0 as my base point and scale that drawing by 1000, and unselect All and zoom extents again, and we now have a drawing that makes sense to us. Let's use the distance tool, and this will be either an entrance or back patio, and if we measure from there to there we get 3715, so about 3.5 metres, nearly 4 metres. So I'm happy with that. We now have a drawing that we can use as a base for adding our landscape design, and everything is in metres. I'll have a look at layers and just make sure that there's a digital terrain model is turned off, a layer there. So that might be a problem for us. It may not have scaled. What I'm going to do is, I should have made sure all layers were on before I scaled. I'll just turn it back on and see what we get. There it is, there's the digital terrain model over the site. So it looks as though that was scaled. I'd be inclined to isolate that layer and clean things up. So we've got Tools and Isolate a Layer. That was the DTM. There we can keep the contours and isolate it, and there it is. This comes from the surveyor's tools that automatically calculates contours, so I'll delete that and come back into Layers and make sure that all layers are on. I'd be inclined to remove these layers here that we no longer need. And that's a little bit tedious, and I'll do that in a moment. Notice also that the surveyor has assigned line weights to various layers that may or may not be a trap when you start putting your design onto this site. But we now have a drawing that works reasonably well. The last thing I do is check the blocks and delete any unused blocks. 26 blocks have been removed. We'll close it and we'll give this a name and we'll call it base point. So we're now almost ready to start working with a clean base drawing.